All right, welcome back to another episode of Well Mentality. I'm Leon Oloya here with a repeat guest, Mr. Brian Bratt, who we wanted to bring back and dig a little bit more into his journey on how he identifies, I'll call it the goal, or at least the initial goal, and then continues to have continuous improvement and benchmarking against that goal to get to that, what we're going to call X marks the spot. So more to come. You know, we'll definitely let Brian dig back into that. For you guys there at home, I guess before we get started, I do want to make sure that that we mention the well mentality, the 3 E's, and a lot of the reason why we continue to bring you this type of material. So education, that's a thought process. Just get at your craft, understand what you're working on. Improve it, and continue to learn, see the latest improvements. And that's not just school, like we talked about earlier with Brian's daughter, but that's in all aspects. You get that through experiences, and that's that next E. And so you're battle testing it. You know, you're trying things. You're seeing what my goal was versus what I tried. Did I get closer? Yes. Okay, let me repeat that. Did I not? No. Let me not do that. That kind of thing. And then once you get good at both of those, now you stay locked in. That last D is engagement. So we'll go through all 3 of these throughout all of our various series. But again, today we're here with Brian Bratt. We're talking about X marking the spot. So Brian, over to you. Thoughts on what does it take, in your opinion, to first understand the value in goal setting? And so we'll tap in there, and then I'm going to ask you the various techniques. So first of all, from a case for action perspective, how would you say goal setting? What's that about to you?
Yeah, definitely. So, I wish I could take credit for this story, but I think it does such an awesome job at articulating the importance of goal setting. I'm just going to steal it. So, for those at home who have ever watched Zig Ziglar, right? Yeah, so yeah. He's a classic, right? And when he's talking about goals, he has a story that I absolutely love sharing with my kids. The story's on Howard Hill, right? So Howard Hill was the greatest archer of all time, right? He entered into 287 tournaments, walked away first place 287 times, right? Just absolutely best in the world. In fact, they kind of forced him out and he retired early because the competitions, no one wanted to go and compete for second, right? So, I mean, he was just the world-class best archer that's ever come along. And so as Zig Ziglar, right, tells the story, he says, but that being said, I can take any person with eyesight, right, just an average human being, and he says within 30 minutes, Zig promises that he can have that person hitting the bullseye more consistently than Howard Hill, provided you blindfold Howard, you spin him in a circle so he has no orientation of where the target is, right? And so if you completely disorient the greatest skilled archer of all time, he has no chance of hitting the target. Right. And so, you have to go watch Ziegler tell the story, right? I mean, it's classic. But, he says, well, of course that's silly. He says, but a better question than to ask, why would I compete against, or how could a guy blindfolded, not knowing where a target is, hit the target? And he says, well, how could you achieve a target that you don't have? Right. Exactly. And like it to me, it just
that's right.
Yeah, it really highlights that. So obviously there's a lot of persistence, the work ethic, the skills that you have to hone, but it starts with having that target, that end in mind. That's right.
You have to understand, okay, where am I trying to go?
Right.
Where you just lost otherwise, and so definitely think that at least even in they say, well, Leon, why are you a believer in that, and what are some examples that you see, and a lot of what I do, I'll call it my day job. And this is, same work that I did back at the factory of ExxonMobil, but now doing it with Candor, is how do I improve my baseline? How do I optimize? How do I get more efficient? And whenever you even start that conversation,
Yeah.
you first say, like, where are you at and where are you trying to go?
Yeah.
We'll figure out how to get there and all that jazz. But like, what are you even bad at?
That's right.
You don't even know if you're even bad, or you might be world class in something. Just because when you figure out where you're trying to get to, you see, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I'm there. So understand that target and then that baseline, and then once you can get to those anchor points, now you have a fighting chance. And so in that aspect, yes, like you see that from the case for action, and also even from I would say things like from a self improvement, like losing weight. You know, those folks that say, look, hey, I'm going to do this whole 30. Yeah. I'm going to show up every day for, I'm going to try to do 100 days in a row of this. Yeah. Whatever that item is. If you already know that if I do that, that's right. 98% of the time when people do 2,000 push-ups across 100 days, they start getting a little bit in shape. That's right. They start building habits. So now let me do that. Let me have that goal, that target, that's right. And now I can have a fighting chance, right, to get that goal. So anyway, so from your perspective, I get it. Case for action. If you don't even know where you're going, I'm just a dizzy archer.
There are way too many distractions in life, right? Okay. I mean, it's coming at us nonstop regardless. And so if there's nothing that you're focused on and you just leave it to chance,
right?
Like, exactly. It's scary if you think about that.
And I think it's almost an offensive term, but like I guess in the young age they don't. So if it does offend anybody, I didn't mean it. But there's this term that I would hate to be called, but it's NPC, and they talk about like in Minecraft and Fortnite, you have the players that you can control, and then you have the non-controllable player. I guess that's what a non-NC. But NCP, whatever. Okay. It's like it's
we call that the computer.
The computer, it's like a tree. It's just kind of like in Mario, it was the thing that's in the background. It's doing nothing. Okay. All right. There's no logic in it. Yeah. It's just walking aimlessly. Yeah. And there's a lot of people right now, and I would say a decent. I don't know if I can say the majority yet, but I would say a decent percentage that it's just a matter of, okay, how did the wind blow today? What did they read? What did they see immediately? And what they first saw pushed them this way, and they saw something else and pushed them that way. They're not fighting upstream. They're not doing any logic checks. They're not doing it. And so you talk about that if you're just walking around as a non-playable controller, that's
exactly right.
And you're lost aimlessly. Like, what's the chance you actually hit a goal? Like, when's the last time you saw the little tree vibrate its way over it and make it to the end goal? No, it just stays aimlessly doing whatever it's doing, just repeating what it's doing. Right. That's not the mindset of somebody trying to improve and get to that well mentality, get to that bag, as they call it, get to that their goal, whatever it is. Yeah.
100%. 100%. And so the greatest asset, right? A lot of people will say it's time, right? Time's our greatest asset. Well, I would say an individual that's focused, that's determined, that knows where they're going, that has their goals laid out. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Time is an asset.
Exactly.
If you're just aimless, right? A time can be a liability.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? You're sitting around and you're just waiting at that point.
That's right. And so really, as far as that goes, what a lot of folks, more so than time, is really your attention. Yeah. Right. And so that's where, when you get clear on those goals, okay, now I'm focused. And where your attention goes, energy flows.
Exactly.
And that's where the action is going to go to.
Goes, energy
flows.
That's
exactly
like that.
Yeah, right. But again, without that goal to set that mark, and hey, look, I'm just as guilty. I've vegetated many hours on that couch, right, watching Tiger, or whatever.
That's right. Well, and I think that's the thing that's interesting. Is, sometimes there's a catch-22, and we were talking about it with the gentleman that I know I need to meet, the wrestler. Yes. That is one of the most...
Yeah, Mike Mason,
that understands you break the task down over and over, and you understand what the right process is, and you just execute it.
That's right.
It's like I said, the way the Navy said, talk about discipline equals freedom. If you do these items over and over, So that takes a lot of focus, effort, and the people that can do it very, very well, they're extraordinary.
Yeah.
They're not. That's not the average person. Like, there's a reason why that person's a good wrestler. Also the person that can be an all-star athlete in 2 sports. That person is better than the average person.
Right.
Right. But the average person still should have enough of that where maybe you're not as perfect, but you can pick the big nuggets. Right. Then once you get those real well, now they turn into habits. Now you don't have to really focus on them anymore. Now you can kind of do the next tranche. And so you're continuously improving if you're trying to get better. So you'll get there eventually.
That's right.
So with that same argument, the normal person can't stay locked in forever. We're not computers. And so what do I mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
So if I know that I can't stay locked in and I need a break, or I will break.
Right.
It's okay once in a while to go veg out.
Yeah.
You have to. You have to find a way. It's not just sleeping.
You decompress.
You got to decompress.
Yeah.
And then you come back harder. It's the same way you don't bench press every single day of the week.
Right.
You hit it hard. You take a few days off. You do it again. All right. So that same concept, I think, is something that I think is also a key, at least in my opinion, key viewpoint that you need to have. Is that when you're trying to get better, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be better 100% of the time. No breaks. Just one. And if you can be, that's better. So strive for that. That's okay. But understand that don't kill yourself. We got to take a day off.
It's going to take time. It's going to take, and that discipline, that persistence, that's a muscle.
Yeah.
And you can't just be perfect. That I read this book. I'm going to be. I know persistence is so important. I've got my goal. Right. You're going to hit walls. You're going to hit obstacles, and you're going to need to step back and take a breather. But no, it's over time. Just keep chipping away.
That's right.
Get your rest, right, and then make another run at it. The other thing that as I've thought back through various, frankly, the reality is we have all sorts of goals, right? Whether it's spiritual, family, financial, mental, physical. Right, there's all these things that they may be in the back of your mind, but they're all kind of marks that many folks are striving for. So some of those that may kind of be a further, longer term goal. One of the things that I think has helped me personally is I'll break it down. Okay, what are the tasks? What is it going to take to get there? Yeah. And then I'll break it down. When you think, let's say it's going to take 5 years. Right. Okay, that's easy to get overwhelmed and say, forget it.
Right.
I can't put in all that work.
Yeah.
But if I break it down, what do I have to do this week? Can I just get through this week?
That's it.
And then what's cool about that is, okay, whatever the tasks are, through that week, whether or not that was truly enough activity to ultimately, it's the right trajectory to hit the goal. You've proven to yourself that, hey, I built some discipline muscle.
I can do it for 5 days. Why can't I do it for 6?
That's exactly right. Yep. And so you get that dopamine hit.
That's right.
You got that reward. And so then then you just start monitoring. Okay, am I making the type of progress that I would expect to make?
Right.
And then just adjust, right?
That's right.
So I guess the other thing is Grant Cardone. He's one of those big movers and shakers. Yeah. And he has this book in philosophy that he goes by 10x. 10x, right? 10x everything, right? And one of the things that he says is that we all can dream, we can have these big dreams, aspirations. He says, but his view, and I think this is right, is we underestimate the amount of activity and the duration that it will take to achieve a certain goal. Right. Right. And so that's just human nature. Right. We just think it's going to take a lot less.
That's right.
So what happens is we put in a certain amount of activity that we preconceive it's going to take this amount of activity. We don't get the results that we thought it would give. Right. We think we're terrible, we're no good, so we give up. But the reality is we just underestimated the activity.
That's it. Just keep going.
That's right.
And that is why, and Joy always reminds me around being able to identify wins. And celebrate them.
That's right.
Because if somebody doesn't see any progress,
that's right.
They're like, damn, I know I got written up for being late coming to work. And I was probably late, 3 out of 5 days a week. Yeah. But I only got, coached 2, or maybe even 1. Right. But now I went 2 weeks in a row without being late. And my boss stops by and says, hey, look, what I noticed? 2 weeks in a row, you weren't late.
That's right.
You got the message. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That little thing, free, number one.
Mm-hmm.
But then now you gave that person something to celebrate. So obviously they had to put some effort in. So now they're not, look, I did 2 weeks in a row. Whatever I did 2 weeks in a row. I know I can do 3. And then one day if I slip up, look, I know I already know my procedure.
That's right.
I got to set this alarm clock. I got to do whatever that item. I work out now in the morning instead of the night, so I'm not stay up all night. Whatever you do,
right.
you have your item. And so yeah, no, I think that is key, is just ensuring that you put in those hours, those 10,000 hours, and when it does get when it will get tough.
Right.
Remember, like let me find a way to find some kind of wind that's vectoring me in the right direction. Let me keep on getting some data sets.
Yeah, there you go.
That way I can say I'm getting better. So that way I can convince myself, just keep going.
That's right.
If you're going through hell, keep going. That's what they say. So no, I'm so tickled to be able to talk about the need for shooting at the target, and even when reading the book and the lessons from the breakfast table. I gotta tell myself, don't call it the book. Everybody doesn't know what the book is. Lessons from the breakfast table. It's not till X so you get on that topic.
Yeah,
at least hardcore. So it's like, yes, and it's throughout other letters, but it's important enough that even the fact that you picked up that book to go read. You got to tell yourself, what was your goal? What was your target? What are you trying to improve on? What are you shooting for? Why spend energy doing that type thing? And so, I think the more and more, folks say, okay, look, what does good look like? Mm-hmm. Where's my target?
Yep.
I can find a way just to emulate that.
Yeah.
From the way they dress to the way they walk to where they go. If you keep on doing, you're probably going to find something. Maybe it's somebody else that they hung around with. You don't know what that factor is, but you're going to find something that's going to say, yep, here, this is what's necessary to get to this end game.
No, 100%. Yep, 100%. The other thing too, like it takes brain power, it takes time, it takes energy and thought to really land on goals that, if you're going to commit a 10,000 hour, lifestyle to it, like you better hope it's a goal that's going to really mean something, be meaningful to you.
That's right.
Right. So one is, it's got to be your goal. Right. So you can't just look at TikTok and see, oh, okay, that looks good, right?
That's right.
Now
that's a good point.
Now, when you land on, okay, this is, for whatever reason, this is really, really meaningful. This is impactful to my life. Yeah, absolutely. Find out that there's someone else has done it.
Yeah, watch your TikTok and educate yourself on it.
That's right. Yeah.
But to your point, that the way you can get to those 10,000 hours is it's something that's liked by you. Yeah. So it's not a chore.
That's right.
So once it becomes a chore, now it's I had to go work on it. But if you legitly like to jog every day, that's literally your stuff. Yeah. It's not hard for you to get 10,000 jogging hours. Right. You're giving yourself 3 hours a day. You did it for the last 15 years. Right. So now we look at your physique. It's a lot different. So, think about 10,000 hours is a lot of hours. A full-time job, a 40-hour work week. That's right. Is only 20-something. Is a little over 2,000 hours. That's right. A year. So you're talking 5 years. Yeah, that's right. So you're talking about 5 years of a full-time job. Yeah. That amount of quantity
to a craft
towards a target. You better make sure you're going to a right target. Yes. And so. Yeah. And if it's not your target. How can you really put that much time in there? There you go. To go do some other target. So it has to be your target. Yep. It really does. And I think that's actually a good point. I don't know if when I got there and I talk about targets, do I really, think about, okay, like how motivated is this person in this target? Yeah, and I'm thinking from an engineering problem perspective. Yeah, sure. If you optimize it, you make more money. Right. That's the problem. Well, that might not have been their objective function. That's right. They might have been like, maybe I want to spend more time. I want to sleep more. I want to do. That's right. So, okay, fine. Well, what do you need to do? If that's your target, what do you need to do? Yep. And you're going to have to wrestle with that. Like it's, and go back to your journal and I'm crossing stuff out all the time, right? I'll go back
okay, 2 years ago, oh yeah, I'm in a different place now. That's
right.
Less important. And so I haven't done this yet, but I've made a pack, and so this is my year end. This is a goal I have to do at the year end, and I'll challenge you as well, because I think the whale mentality viewers would love to hear you kind of come back and talk more about this. Thinking through about really setting goals that are going to be impactful and meaningful, right? We hear the phrase at the end of the day, and I think that's such an overused phrase. Yeah. But for me, it's like, okay, at the end of my day, at the end of my life, right? And so one of the things that I'm going to commit to doing this year is I want to write my obituary and my eulogy. Okay. Right, and the reason for both, right? Obituaries typically, here's accomplishments, here's things this individual has done. Yeah. Right, and the eulogy from the perspective of my wife, my children, and maybe some close friends. Yeah. And so I want to really soak and write how I would what would really light me up on the obituary, right? And then. And so I don't know what that's going to look like, but it'll be.
But to stick your brain on it, it'll definitely be enlightening.
Because I think what's going to happen is some of these goals that I have, I promise you, they're not going to make it into my dream obituary or eulogy, and I think that's going to start weeding out some of those. Well, that's really not that important.
Yeah, not that important,
right? And I'm hoping that's going to start getting more clarity on. Okay, what really matters? What do I not want to miss?
The critical few.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think you're right. That is interesting. Yeah, what would they say? And what do you want them to say? And then what do you got to do?
That's exactly right.
For them to say that.
That's right. Yeah.
that matters. I don't know if I want to read it right now, but
that's the dream. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
I got to get to that target.
I promise you, I'm going to have to. After I do that, I'm going to have to get busy. I promise you, there's going to be a lot of work. Yeah,
right. That's another action item.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's the. So now, what would you say? I guess as you're trying to find those items, and especially when people try to pair up talent level to desires / goals, and when is it a goal, a target versus a dream? When is it when should I really? Yeah, I'm not saying don't do it because maybe it's just a hobby. I like to play golf. I don't know if I can really say a goal. I could be a pro golfer. Yeah. I don't know. Thoughts? How do you differentiate?
Yeah, and here's where I'll probably get off the norm, and I'm sure we'll get some feedback that he's wrong in these areas, but. So there are a bunch of different ways. Yeah, you got to write it down, right? And there are rules that some folks say, okay, this is a dream versus a goal. You'll hear SMART goals, right? It's got to be, specific, measurable, actionable, etc. I came across a book the other day that now takes that and makes it the SMARTer goals, adds an E and an R. To be honest, for me, I get to the third letter, and now I forgot my goal, and I'm trying to remember the process. And I'm not saying that those aren't. There's a lot of different ways to help an individual kind of stick to it. So I don't want to, I don't want to badmouth any of that. But to me, what it always comes back to is these are techniques and strategies to help keep that goal front of mind. Again, to keep your attention on it. Yep. Where your attention is, that's where attention goes, energy flows. Right? And that's where your action is going to take. Yeah. So all of those different techniques, and I've gone, I could pull out my journals, you'll see some goals that are, it's just written the end result, right? And I'll carry that for years, just, it could be 3 words, right? Or others, it then comes with kind of the detailed step-by-step things that I need to do to achieve it. So I've never, it's not just a one-size-fits-all, but it's back to what's really speaking to me, what's resonating, what's really capturing my attention that I'm laser focused on.
No, right? That's right.
And sometimes it's I've got to look at it every day to remind myself. But some of the bigger goals that really kind of consume me for periods of my life, I didn't have to go look in a journal. It was it was what I was after for that time in my life.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and so when I'm eating, it's like I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
It was always on my mind, right? And again, you know, and it was something I was passionate about, and I enjoyed, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any.
The attention is there. Like I said, the attention, energy flow.
That's a secret. Yeah, it's what it takes to have your attention on that spot.
Yeah.
Right. So if it's writing it down, if it's the smarter, the smartest.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
Whatever.
Whatever. Get your list. You know, and I like to cheat on some of that stuff. You know, using reminders or using just words in a day. Yeah. You know, that's one of the things that you can use technology for now. Is like, once it's on your mind, now say, remind me daily.
That's right.
Even if it just blasts it up, and I just delete that reminder email note and re-snoozed it. Yeah. I still saw it. That's right. And I still say I had to think about it. Yeah. Do I want to go talk when I go do it now? So yeah, you know, find those ways to keep that attention there. And to your point earlier in the discussion around the distraction. Yeah. And there's so many of them. Oh my goodness. Unlimited. Even some of those guys like cartoons, like they're always there. Before you gotta wait till Saturday morning, and you gotta get. That's true. There's always something that can pull you away from doing your homework, from you working out, from you improving yourself, from you going towards your goal. That's right. You got to keep going towards your goal. That's it. Yeah, because if you're not going towards yours, you're going towards someone else's. Exactly. So everyone's competing for other people's attention, right? That non-playable controller just bouncing around the game. They're bouncing around the game. That's it. So before we get wrapped up here, what are, I would say, a couple letters that, you know, people should just maybe think about and put on their mind? A couple letters. We're talking about a couple letters out of a lesson from the Bratt. Oh, okay. All right. So we talked about X. Yeah. Today. And so again, for those of you out there, and hopefully there's a link showing up right now, or we'll get one in there. Find a way to capture the book, and so that way you can hear what you're talking about. It's a quick read, so I think that's a good thing. Is that it gets enough to get it on your mind, and then lets you build from there. But as you think about a few letters that you would say, look, folks, think about this right now. Yeah. On the, what are some of those you might throw out there? Just so there are definitely, I would say, more keystone type words, right? But they all come together certainly. And if you let me talk long enough, I'll probably end up rattling off all 26, right? That's right. But for me, believe, right? So okay, we're spending this evening talking about how important goals set your mark, right? But if you don't believe that goal is attainable, you're never going to put in the 10,000 hours that it takes. Exactly. Right? And whatever that is. So your self-confidence, your inner belief, like that's so critically important. Yeah, absolutely. If you believe you can, there you go. You're right. That's right. If you believe you can, that's right. That's it. So believe is one. Yeah, believe is definitely up there. The goal setting, the X marks the spot. Anything that you're trying to achieve is going to take action, right? Now action's in there. Action's it's not A, right? You got to mix it around. So action is work. That's work. You got to put in the work. That's right. Right. So I'd say, because you can have all of the right philosophy, right? I can have all of Albert Einstein's IQ, but if I just sit right here and do nothing with it, right? So it's worth zero. Yeah. So belief and work, and then persistence, I think, would be up there for sure. Yeah. Thinking. Napoleon Hill is probably the outside of, I'd say, the Bible. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is probably the book that kicked off the personal development industry, right? And if you look at Earl Nightingale, the Jim Rohns, Ziegler's, just the on and on people that's come, you can kind of trace them back to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And so his book is about controlling your mind and actively thinking, right, on targets, etc. Right. So not
just to be a victim of these random thoughts that come to all of us, but to cast aside, and really focus and think. Right. So that's a pretty good one. So I don't know. There's probably a few there, but
that's definitely, again. I to your point, you can get in a conversation and rattle off a ton of them. And I remember there was when I was going back and watching the last podcast, there was like a 10-paragraph segment that I started rattling off a few of the
You recited the book. That was awesome.
So, but good stuff. So yeah, no, we always appreciate having you here at the Well Mentality on the podcast, and again, we're on the same wavelength. Vibrating the same. Again, having the same attention and energy's flowing. So. It's there for everybody, but I think one of the things that I want to leave everybody with, and you said it earlier, is it has to be your target. What makes me tick. I like real estate. I like engineering work. I like
not mom's target, not dad's target.
Exactly.
Right?
It's my target. It's your target. I think there's a common social norm, morality target that we all should have. That at least society so far has said that's more desired than the extreme. But everything in between, no, if you like the color, what's your target in that? You want to be the best coloring person in the class? What do you want to do? I don't know. So, yeah, make sure you do that. Also, for everybody out there, if you do, like what Well Mentality is bringing, what you're seeing, like us, follow us, share us, push it out to other folks. This is all free stuff. Anybody can do it. It's zero effort. We're not selling anything. It's all about how you get better, and you getting better, especially if you're getting better in my community, you're probably gonna make me better. And then pretty soon, like me and Brian talked about, we're all flying on the plane together talking about it. Right?
There you go. Love it.
Appreciate it. Thanks a bunch again, Brian. Thank you.
Awesome.
Great show.
Appreciate it.